Companion animals are the animals that we would find normally in a domesticated setting. So really we're going to be talking about dogs and cats. But this may extend into other species as well. So we might be looking at small animals such as rabbits and guinea pigs. But there are an increasing range of animals these days we might find when we're entering a domesticated environment. So do be aware we could also encounter other animals such as reptiles. Not all animals that we encounter may be friendly, so some animals might actually have a role, such as not all dogs are pets, some might be guard animals, so we need to be aware that their temperament might be quite different to those that we would expect to find in a domesticated setting. When handling domesticated species, it's easy to feel quite relaxed around them because they can feel very familiar. However, when we're attending these animals, they are often in an environment that's very unnatural for them, and this can drive them to revert to more basic instincts, and the fear can really drive a strong flight or fight response with these animals. So actually they pose quite a high injury risk for anybody attending these animals. So we really need to think about how to protect ourselves against any injuries. So with dogs, we might be aware that they have a very strong bite, and certainly the bigger the dog, the higher the risk of quite a serious injury. And when we look at cats, they certainly come fully weaponised, and cat bites in particular can be particularly nasty and must be avoided at all costs if possible. And certainly as vets, if we do receive any kind of cat bite injury, then it does require immediate medical attention. Cat scratches can also be extremely nasty, and certainly in the UK, no animal over here will be without its claws, so do be aware that they can often cause very nasty scratches, and as such we need to approach these animals with care and caution to keep them as calm as possible. When attending incidents, it's important that we evaluate if we feel confident assisting that animal at that moment in time. So that might depend on your own personal experience and whether you've got your own animals and whether you're used to handling them, but remembering that these are animals not in their normal environment. And if at any point during handling that animal or dealing with it, you feel that it's becoming unsafe for you to continue, then it's important that you do seek further assistance. There's plenty of help available at a scene, and often lots of people willing to give their help, but we have to decide what might be the most appropriate to help us in terms of the animal's welfare and our own safety. So owners will be the obvious person to get involved with helping the animal, and they certainly can be very useful to help assist find leads or cages to help restrain the animal. But do be aware that particularly with our domesticated animals, there can be an extremely strong human-animal bond, and this can often override the person's own personal safety and end up endangering both themselves and us as well. So we have to bear that in mind as to whether they are the most appropriate person to be helping with that animal at that time. There may be further expertise that you can seek within your organisation, so personnel trained to deal with the animal aspect of any rescue, but you also might look to seek expertise from outside of that, so whether that's dog handlers for assistance with restraint and understanding their behaviour, or whether if you feel the animal's injured, it may well need to seek further veterinary expertise. The legislation that wraps around all of our interactions with animals is the Animal Welfare Act 2006. And this is a really key piece of legislation to know about if you are going to have any role interacting with animals in your job. So it really determines that everybody that comes into contact with that animal has a responsibility towards its welfare, whether that's under a temporary or a more permanent situation. It's important to think, therefore, under this legislation about the ongoing care for that animal once it's out of immediate danger. So you might have performed an excellent rescue and you might have had to offer some triage on site and perform some initial resuscitation. But it's important that we also factor into our plan how that animal is going to go forwards to carry on with its care. So it's important to have some pre-preparedness, thinking about transportation availability in your area. If the owner's available, then that might be your best choice, but obviously if they've also been involved in the incident, they might not be able to help. Contacting your local veterinary practice may well be a really good start point, as they may well themselves have an ambulance that they're willing to help you with whenever you phone to need assistance, but they may also have a very good contact list availability for you and offer some further advice. It's also nice to have a really good relationship with your local vets, so it makes it a lot smoother to work together in the future. As a vet, we are acutely aware of the hazards of working with domesticated animals, and it's very easy to be very relaxed around them, and therefore it's important to remember and recognise that these can still offer quite a significant injury risk to us, as well as leading to infections from bites and scratches. It's important therefore that we evaluate our skills as we're working with these animals, and if we feel we need to seek further assistance, it's important that that is done in the interest of both yourself, personal safety, and the animal's welfare.